Hey, Kevin here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you how to make wood stain using pieces of copper, so check this out. Okay, so to make the stain is actually really simple. You're going to want some hydrogen peroxide, you're going to want some plain old white vinegar, you're going to want some type of container to mix it in. I'm using a glass jar with a lid so that I can seal it later. You're going to either a rag or a brush to apply it, and then also you're going to need some clean copper. Now I'm using some brand new pieces of, I think they're 1/2-inch couplings I picked up at the store. I paid about 50 cents each. They actually had some that were a little smaller, but I was going for surface area. I thought that might help a little better, so I picked these up. But pretty much any new copper pieces would work. One thing I have tried that did not work out so well was copper pennies. The ones made nowadays just don't have enough copper. If you could find a bunch from the 60s, that would work, but that's a lot of effort when you could just go and pick these up real quick at the store. Also, if you have newer copper wire scraps that were just as clean as this, I think those would work. You probably need a good bundle of it. And then also, if you have any copper sheeting that you could cut up into like coin size, and it was also as clean as this, I think that would work as well. But I found that just going and picking up little plumbing pieces worked the best. So now let me show you how to make it. It's super easy. Okay, so to make the stain is actually really simple. Just put in your copper pieces into the jar, and then you want to add the vinegar to cover them up. I'm going to do about a cup of vinegar. All right, and then you want to add hydrogen peroxide, and you want about a tablespoon of that. And then that's it. Just let it sit and let the magic happen, and check out what happens. It's pretty cool. All right, so check it out. I let it sit in here overnight. It's basically been in here for about 24 hours. You can see it's got this really cool blue color, almost like watered down Kool-Aid or Windex or something like that. And just to compare, here's a jar I made about a week ago. You can see it'll get a little bit deeper and richer if it sits over time. But I'm gonna go ahead and test out the new jar here for you. All right, so what I've done to test this is I actually divided this board into 6 sections, so each one's gonna be a coat. The reason I did that is because this is such a thin color that it actually takes a few coats to build up to get a really cool, interesting look on the wood. So what I'm gonna do is the first coat is gonna cover the entire board, all right? Then I'll let it dry. Then when I do the second coat, I'll start at number 2 and go over, let it dry. Third coat all the way over till we get to the last coat, which just covers this last section, and you'll see the really cool gradation you get from different coats of this. All right, and here it is after let it dry overnight. You can see the color on coat 1 is almost non-existent. I mean, it's there, but just barely compared to, you know, the side here. Number 2, you can start to see it really start to pop through. 3 doesn't look a lot different. And then 4, 5, and 6 is when the color really started coming through. Now, it is a lot of coats. Like I said, it is a really thin stain. So I was getting a little worried around coats 3 and 4 that it wasn't going to work as well as the last jar made. So I decided to test it as well. Alright, so again, my older jar is about a week old. The color's a little deeper. So when I tested it out, check out how rich the color got there. That looks really cool. So again, the first coat is still really thin. It's barely noticeable unless you compare it against, you know, raw wood. But by 2 and 3, the color's starting to pop out. But 4, 5, and 6, that gets a really rich color. So that looks really cool. I thought this was interesting too. When I slide them a little bit, they all line up. So look at that, my new number 6 looks just like my old number 4, and then all the other colors, the gradients are still the same. So it's cool how the color stays consistent, and it just gets a little bit deeper as it gets older. So it looks pretty cool. Okay, so also real quick, I want to mention there's a couple ways you can modify this stain. One thing you can try is instead of white vinegar, you can try out different types of vinegar, like apple cider vinegar. It has more of an amber color, so the stain comes out a little more green. It looks pretty interesting. Also, I just used the 3 pieces of copper because that's just what I happened to grab when I was making this. But if you have more and you really fill out the jar, at least the bottom of the jar, the solution will get a little deeper a little bit sooner. Also, another thing that really helps out is to put in a little more peroxide. So I only use the 1 tablespoon, but if you use 2 tablespoons, it happens a lot quicker. It's probably what I should have done in the first place. So anyway, that's a couple things you do to this solution. It's really simple. It looks really cool. It is pretty thin though, so it's a little bit of a novelty because it takes so many coats. But it'd be kind of cool to make a project and then stain it, get this really awesome color, and then tell everyone that, yeah, I stained that with copper. So there you go. It turned out pretty awesome. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That really helps get it out in front of other people that might like to check it out too. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that to keep up with more videos. And if you want to see some other projects I have some here on the screen and down in the description below as well.